how's it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another 2025 movie review. Now, I know I'm already a week late on this review as of this recording, but I figured after seeing my friend Matthew Davis Media's review of this movie, I figured I'd just wait until the perfect opportunity to see this, and since I was already seeing another movie, I will have another review on that later. Depending on which one I upload first. But this movie review is going to be on the 2025 version of the Smurfs movie. Now, this movie, I got to admit, and this is only the fourth theatrical release of the Smurfs in cinema history. The first two that came out were two live action iterations that were made by Sony. And the third one was a fully animated version of the Smurfs called Smurfs: The Lost Village that came out in 2017. And now 8 years later, we have this one, unfortunately. Now, when it comes to this movie, the girl who they got, I did notice that every single version of the Smurfs that came out with the two movies, the Lost Village and now this, each of these versions of the Smurfs had different girls voicing Smurfette. We had Katy Perry in the first two movies. We had Demi Lovato, I think, in the second, or in the Smurfs: The Lost Village. And now we have Rihanna, who, I gotta admit, I don't think I've ever heard of Rihanna until this movie, because apparently she's a singer, just like Katy Perry and Demi Lovato is. But with Rihanna as Smurfette, I will admit, the songs the one song she had in the movie I thought was okay. But when it comes to everything else, like the story elements and all the characters and stuff that were featured in this film, if I had to choose between this movie and The Lost Village from 8 years ago, since they're both really fully animated movies in a way, I would actually have to go with Smurfs: The Lost Village. I feel like that was a much better iteration of the Smurfs than this one. Like, if I had to rank all four of the Smurfs movies, The Lost Village would be my number one. The second Smurfs movie that came out in live action, I would probably say is my second favorite. Then the first animated live action one, and then this one is unfortunately at the bottom of the barrel for these four. And honestly, I don't even care about giving away spoilers, because I don't recommend watching this movie in theaters, because it's not a great Smurfs movie. So basically, the reason why I didn't think it was that great is because you have different parts of the story that to me just made no sense. Like, they introduced brothers to both Papa Smurf and Gargamel in this movie. Like, they had Razamel as Gargamel's brother. Like, real good choice of name there. It almost sounds exactly like Gargamel in a way. Now, with Papa Smurf's brother, his brother is literally just called Ken. Like, that's it. No, it's not called Ken Smurf or Ken something Smurf, just Ken. Even though he's considered a Smurf. And to me, the way his character was portrayed in this movie, I didn't get it. And there's even a completely new Smurf that's never been featured before in any of the iterations. That it is literally just called No Name Smurf until the end of the movie, when he calls himself Magic Smurf. Because at one point during the movie, he gets like these magical powers or something like that. And to me, the story of how he becomes Magic Smurf is just, to me, it made no sense. And the one thing they did that I thought was like really weird, and I never see this guy doing, is having Gargamel actually team up with the Smurfs to defeat his older brother. Or his little brother. I don't remember exactly how old Razamel is, and whether he's the younger or older brother of Gargamel, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, it was kind of a situation where the villain teams up with the heroes in a way that I will say that the way they did it in Sonic 3 was better than what it was in this movie. Because the reason why I bring up Sonic 3 is because we had Robotnik originally team up with his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, until he reveals his dastardly plan, and basically ends up disrespecting Robotnik, saying that he didn't even care about living, he was going to kill both of them and all that sort of stuff. And and then he ends up teaming up with the heroes and killing his grandfather in a way. But in this movie, the way they did that with Rosamel and Gargamel, Rosamel being the real villain here, and Gargamel suddenly teaming up with the Smurfs for a brief moment just to go right back to hating on the Smurfs. The way they did that in this movie was way worse than how it was portrayed in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That movie made more sense when it comes to their characters and how they portrayed them. And honestly, having Gargamel team up with the Smurfs, I did not see coming, and honestly, that was like the worst thing they could have done. And they do have like a little post-credit scene at the end of, or not post, but it was like a mid-credit scene in the Smurfs movie, which shows Gargamel teaming up with his brother's supposed henchman named, I forgot the henchman's name, I think it was Joel or something, saying that they were still going to go after the Smurfs and whatnot. So basically this assistant went from one brother to another in a way, and I just found it really weird. And like I said, Smurfs the Lost Village, I think, was a much better animated version of the Smurfs, because, again, it's set in an actual mythical world, and there's no live-action parts of it whatsoever. Gargamel was even fully animated in that movie, and, again, in that movie, they had, like, girl Smurfs and a girl leader that was, like, which is why it was called the Lost Village. And they eventually unite by the end of the movie and become one whole village. But the way they portrayed the characters in that movie and the story elements and everything, that was way better than what we got in this movie. I mean, again, Rihanna is an okay singer. I will give her that. She did a decent job portraying Smurfette. But some of the more modernized jokes in this movie and in references like DMing and like he was like Gargamel claims he sent his brother a bunch of emails, and they even did they even tried to substitute the word Smurf for a lot of cuss words, and they even bleeped out the one time that a bleep word was about to be used, and it was the A word in a way. But of course, to me, that all this modern stuff that was like brought into the movie, to me, made no sense. Which is why I think Smurfs the Lost Village is the most likable adaptation of Smurfs in theatrical form, in my mind. But with this movie, I honestly don't know what to say with this. But I guess for now, let me give you my rating of the movie. So, for my rating of the 2025 version of the Smurfs movie, again, definitely the worst one of the bunch in my mind, and I did agree just a little bit with my friend Matthew Davis, but for me, I'm going to give this movie a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Yep, 1.5, which I think is the same rating I gave Snow White, and so far these two are the only movies that I have given the worst rating to, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And if I had to say, I will say this though, this movie is definitely a little bit more tolerable than Snow White in my mind, because and it's mostly because of what Rachel Zegler said and did over the leading up to the release of Snow White. So, but I still think both of them are the worst films of the year in my mind. So anyways, that's all for now in this review, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.